move into the story of this valley that happened in a once upon a time place, a once upon a time, and a once upon a time moment in our lives where the butcher and baker and a candlestick maker were, of course, suffering because they had not seen rain in their valley for months. They had sent for everybody, and everybody, including the engineers, everybody, including the NASA rainmakers that were involved in modern technology, came and left with their tail between their legs to no avail. Eventually, of course, they sent for a rainmaker after they had forgotten for months that the rainmaker was only 3 or 4 queendoms over. And they sent their youngest out to go and grab him and bring him along. Why? Because at this stage of the game, there was no water to wash the wounds, so people were dying. There was no water to allow the babies to be born healthy and strong. There was no water to wash the vegetables. There were no vegetables even to be had, and people were starting to get really unpleasant and even frustrated and even rascally and angry and raging with each other because the dust bowls with no rain holding the trees in the ground were now busting through center court and through down the alleyways and into the valley, back out into the valleys. But screeching with it was this howling that was getting under people's skin, and they weren't able to sleep. It was a nasty drought-ridden time, and it was desperate. But lo and behold, they sent for the rainmaker. The rainmaker came, of course, and what did he do? He stood there and took note of the wind. He took one look at the sky. He reached down and grabbed some soil and looked at the soil and watched it just sift through his fingers. And then, of course, as all rainmakers do, he took a little spit and spit it on the ground and had a look at that spit on the ground and said, right then, I know what I need to do. He said, I need a hut, I need 3 days, and a little bit of food and tea would be fabulous. Starbucks macchiato would be even better, but listen, no worries if none of that can be found. I am happy to just spend my 3 days in my hut. Okay, thanks very much. I'll be on my way. And away he went. He went in and said goodbye into his hut. And of course, after the first day, there was nothing going on. People were starting to look out. There was nothing. On the second day, they were starting to get even more rumbly. Oh my God, he's as bad as the NASA engineers, for God's sakes. On the third day, they started to gather at the center court, and they were starting to wonder if this guy was a fake or it was just all for show. He was just some charlatan that came to town, and they were all standing there on day 3 ready to wring his neck and welcome him out of the hut and strangle him or something. And when all of a sudden they looked up above them and saw, just like I can see right now, the clouds above me, and all of a sudden the clouds started to swarm and turn, and the next thing you know, the rains came, and the kids ran running through the fields and the rain washed all the dust all over off their naked bodies. All of a sudden the wounds are being washed, and all of a sudden there was plants they seemed to be coming up in a split second. And of course, everybody started to gather around, including the dancers and the music makers. And they came and gathered around this rainmaker, who now was just sticking his head out and going, whoa, okay, it's raining. And he was very happy to have the rain on his face. And he got up and he dusted himself off, and he stood there and of course said, well, here we are. Okay, thank you so much. It's a miracle, everyone said. And they wanted to praise him and that he was some sort of God incarnate. He said, no, not at all. He said, well, what did you do? They asked him. How did you get the rain to come? It's something extraordinary. Nobody else could do it. And he said, well, the truth is, I came to the valley and I realized my mind was going this way, my body was going this way, my heart was doing some weird Irish 3-step jig, and I was completely out of alignment. And I really knew at the time that I just needed 3 days to put all these things back together again so that I could then be in my own alignment. And that was my job, and that's all I did for 3 days. And the food was great, and the macchiato was even better. And I really have to go now. My vegetables need attending to. Thank you so much for having me. I'll be on my way. And away he went.